The economic crisis continues to have a severe impact on the rights and well-being of many Sri Lankans. Discussions with creditors are underway, and although this year the International Monetary Fund approved a financial support package, which is an important first step, it is crucial to ensure that the burden of potential reforms does not further compound inequalities. Robust safety nets and social protection measures are needed to shelter the most vulnerable from the negative spillovers of economic restructuring. It is also vital to address the underlying factors of the crisis, including corruption, which was a loud and essential demand of the protests that took place last year. Our office urges the government and political parties in Sri Lanka to use this opportunity for democratic renewal, for deeper institutional reforms, and to advance accountability and reconciliation, as well as the promotion and the protection of human rights. Sri Lanka has witnessed too many ad hoc commissions in the past that failed to ensure accountability. Accountability remains the fundamental gap in attempts to deal with the past, and as long as impunity prevails, Sri Lanka will achieve neither genuine reconciliation nor sustainable peace. The past months have unfortunately witnessed an old reflex of using draconian laws to curtail opposition and control civic space, with a heavy-handed approach to protests far too often, including the arrest of protest leaders and forceful crowd control measures, as well as the persistent use of the military in police functions. Recent arrests over statements made during comedy performances and of members of parliament engaged in protests exemplify this concern.
Sri Lanka responded to the comments made in the oral update.
Political stability has been restored while conditions on the ground have improved considerably for the people. Sri Lanka has categorically rejected the external evidence gathering mechanism established following resolutions 46/1 and 51/1, which will have wide-ranging legal and political implications. Notwithstanding its position and despite the severe constraints, Sri Lanka actively and constructively engaged with the regular human rights mechanisms. Let me conclude by reiterating Sri Lanka's continued cooperation and constructive engagement with this Council in keeping with our Constitution and our international obligations.
Britain's Global Ambassador for Human Rights and Deputy Permanent Representative to the United Nations in Geneva, Rita French, delivered the co-group statement on Sri Lanka at the 53rd General Meeting of the United Nations Human Rights Council. She said that they welcome Sri Lanka's initial steps towards addressing concerns around land returns, long-term detentions and corruption, adding that these steps can provide a basis to begin a process to protect the rights of all Sri Lankans from all ethnic and religious communities. She further noted that they remain concerned by the continued use of the Prevention of Terrorism Act and that they acknowledge an ongoing effort to replace the PTA and urge the government to ensure that terrorism legislation is consistent with Sri Lanka's international obligations. The co-group statement further called on Sri Lanka to work with the High Commissioner and his office and remain ready to support Sri Lanka in addressing HRC Resolution 51-